Welcome to Lake, a show about what's happening here in Bellevue, Washington. I'm your host today, Michelle DeGrand, coming to you from the beautiful Bellevue Botanical Garden, which is now in full spring bloom. On this month's Lake, we'll bring you the highlights from the grand opening of the Cross Lake Light Rail Connection. Plus, we'll share a look at how Bellevue continues to come together through unity and diversity. And we'll offer seasonal gardening tips from the Bellevue Botanical Garden. The Cross Lake Connection is now open, marking a major milestone for our region and for connecting Bellevue to Seattle by light rail for the very first time. This long-anticipated expansion of the 2-line represents a generational investment in mobility, improving access to jobs, housing, and opportunity all across the region. City leaders, regional partners, and community members gathered to celebrate the opening and recognize the decades of planning and collaboration that made this moment possible.
We're celebrating what has been in the making for so many years. It is the light rail that goes from Bellevue into Seattle across the bridge. It takes everything and everyone, the entire village and all the villages around us to get here. The conclusion of all of that is this really wonderful day. We're getting a chance to ride the train.
I think what's amazing about the Cross Lake Connection is that it opens Bellevue up to the rest of the world, and likewise makes the rest of the world much more accessible to Bellevue. It connects us to the airport, it connects us to the University of Washington, it connects us to major job centers like Microsoft, and it brings all those people to Bellevue to see what we've been holding on to and nurturing all this time.
We have lamented for so long how far behind our region has been on transit, how we missed our chance back in the day. But no more. As of today, we will have 50 link stations across 63 miles and multiple counties so that the civic and cultural and economic life of our region can grow atop a foundation of safe, fast, reliable transit.
I work in University of Washington, so definitely instead of going through the traffic or paying toll or thinking about parking, I am going to take the light rail, being dropped at the U District station, and then voila, the U Dub is there.
It's so accessible, where everybody can get on this train at such a low cost and also possibly free for kids as well. So this is something I'm super excited about.
I live up in Everett, so I'll mostly be using it for exploring. I don't commute yet, but I'm really excited for when the light rail goes up to Everett.
We were like the first car, so everyone was like really excited to go, and it was like really fun to see.
Just excited that there's another public transit option. For a long time I used to take the bus and it was very inconvenient at times, so excited to see the light rail open.
I think that this is going to change people's lives who work here, who live here, and they are going to see how much easier it is to move around this whole region, and it will create that connection with Bellevue.
And there's one thing I would say to anyone who wants to, really take my advice: ride the train.
Bellevue's strength comes from the people who call it home and the many cultures and perspectives that shape our community. Through programs like Unity Through Diversity, the city continues to create opportunities for connection, conversation, and shared understanding. These efforts help bring people together, celebrate cultural traditions, and reinforce Bellevue's commitment to being a welcoming and inclusive community. If you'd like to watch the complete event, just click on the link in the description box below. You know, with spring in full swing, it is a great time to get outside and start thinking about your garden. The Bellevue Botanical Garden is sharing seasonal tips to help your garden thrive, from preparing your soil to choosing the right plants for the season. Whether you're an experienced gardener or just getting started, these simple tips can really help you make the most of this growing season.
Hello, I'm James Gagliardi, the director of the Bellevue Botanical Garden. The Bellevue Botanical Garden is one of the many parks within the city of Bellevue, a city within a park. At the Bellevue Botanical Garden, we have over 53 acres of formal gardens and trails available to the public every day of the year, dawn till dusk, with free admission. So here we are on a beautiful sunny spring day at the garden, typical Pacific Northwest weather. Let's go inside, look at some amazing plants, and I'll give you some great garden tips along the way. When you come through the entrance of the Bellevue Botanical Garden, you're going to come across our new display. This was put in by the Washington State Master Gardeners. It's a beautiful display called Habitats at Home, and the lessons of this garden are teaching the home gardener how to create habitat for wildlife. Wildlife needs the same things that we need as humans, that is food, water, and shelter. So an example of a food source is this beautiful flowering currant here, a native plant with these bright flowers that are going to attract bees and potentially hummingbirds as well to the garden. For a water source, we have this low, shallow bowl. This bowl is creating a place where bees can come up to the edge and grab a drink. For shelter, when we start to clip back and clean up this garden in spring, we took all of what would typically be the compost and kept it in the garden in case there was overwintering insects in there. We created what's called a bug snug. This will also be a great place for birds to come and grab nesting material. So we've moved to the Shorts ground cover garden. Typically, people may be looking up in the garden at the wonderful blooming cherry tree behind me, a rhododendron, and this great waterfall. However, I want you to look more towards the ground, and we're going to talk about some gardening tips here in our ground cover garden. In spring, we're laying a great layer of mulch. What this mulch is doing is helping us suppress weeds along with keeping the moisture in the soil. This is going to cut down on our irrigation needs. A way to do this also is with ground cover plants. This is going to be like a green mulch for us. It adds beauty, but also does those same things of helping with weed suppression and water usage. So think about those tips when you're gardening this spring. We are here now in our native discovery garden, and we're going to talk about two vocabulary words for plants. One of those being native. What a native plant is a plant that's native to this ecoregion. It has evolved here over time and is used to our environmental conditions, including soils, climate, and is the most likely to be successful here and also interact with our native wildlife. One of my favorite native plants is trilliums. Not only because it's the logo for the garden, but also it's just a wonderful spring ephemeral. And that brings us to our next vocabulary word, which is ephemeral. A spring ephemeral plant is a plant like trillium that is growing up in early spring in the woodlands. So that plant is coming out before the trees above us leaf out. That allows the light to reach the petals and for the plant to go through its life cycle. If you come here a month from now, this plant will be completely gone. So the best time to enjoy them are spring here in the garden. We're ending our visit here in the perennial border. This is a favorite of visitors to Bellevue Botanical Garden. At the Botanical Garden, we have over 3,000 varieties of plants. You're going to see the most variety in the perennial border here. If you're looking for plants for your own home, I suggest coming to one of the many plant sales that are hosted by our partner groups. There's great ones coming up this spring. There's also a ton of classes if you're trying to educate yourself more on the best gardening practices. So come out to Bellevue Botanical Garden. Once again, we're open dawn till dusk every day of the year for free. So a great place to come and visit, take a stroll, and explore nature.
I can't wait to use some of those tips in my own garden. Well, that's a wrap for us on this month's episode, but you can share your feedback or questions with us anytime at btv@bellevuewa.gov. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest video news and information from the city. We'll leave you today with some views of Bellevue's cherry blossoms, just in case you missed their fleeting beauty in many of our nearly 100 parks. From all of us at Bellevue Television and the City of Bellevue, thank you for watching Lake to Lake, and we'll see you next month.